Welcome loreheads to another 40k video as we look through the Akashic Reader at the timeless depths of the warp where all stories are already written. Now witness 40k fan made, where we go over a well-researched fan theory and judge it. Is it tinfoil or is it so good GW should make it canon? Today we discuss the identity of the Yellow King. In the book it's revealed to be, spoilers if you don't know, go and read the Bequin books, very good, Constantine Valdor. Now here the theory is actually Lorgar Aurelian, Primarch of the Word Bearers. The fan begins. Lorgar Aurelian, the Urizen. Everything about Queen Mab, the City of Dust, their people, and even the weather itself bears the fingerprint of Lorgar. All the major details of the city can be linked to his history and his philosophy. Lorgar, as the Yellow King, not only answers the question of who is the Yellow King, but answers a question no one seems to be asking apart from Bequin. Why is the bright, golden, wondrous city of the Yellow King referred to as the City of Dust? It all starts with the mythological status of the Yellow King. To those who know the most of his history, and in this quote Alice is speaking, she says, Orpheus is the nomenclature of the king, also known as the King in Yellow, or Yellow King, she said. The Orpheus of old myth was a musician and a magician. With the power of his music, his song, his very words, he was able to conquer heaven and hell. He took ownership of divine properties and turned them against the divine. By extension, we may surmise that our Orpheus is learning the properties of the warp, the very Empyrean, in order to use them against the warp. Lorgar refers to the warp as a song from Betrayer. This quote says, I have since learned that the warp is a song, Magnus, a symphony, and I am the only one willing to play it. Magnus responds, the warp is not a song. I fear for your sanity, Lorgar. The warp is a song, brother. Let me play a verse for you. Then in Bearer of the Word, Lorgar receives a vision from a strange figure who is referred to as the Old One. I have seen and heard the truth, and the song continues even now. What song? The song of the Empyrean, of all time and space, of the universe singing to itself. It is beautiful. The fan goes on to say, these thematic parallels between Lorgar and Orpheus cannot be denied. Even more compelling, the song of the Empyrean is described as an Ouroboros. Ending and beginning meeting at the same point is what that means. The same sigil carved all over the temple in the City of Dust, the symbol being immediately paired in the narrative to music and the words of creation, which we know from early events that Lorgar is researching. I realise there was a mark upon them, a tiny pattern repeated in delicate rows across the surface of every single tile. They were not eights at all. They were the lemnis gate, the geometric symbol for infinity. They were the limitless apeiron, the tail-biting double circle of Ouroboros. I stepped back. I could hear nothing, but there was a sensation of music, or at least a harmonic vibration, just at the edge of hearing. I realised there was a word in my head that had not been there before. It was a word of forbidden enuncia that I had forgotten. The instant I spoke it, I'd only remembered it when I passed into the extimate zone, which is a zone between the warp and the materium, put simply. We also get more on the nature of the Yellow King from Alice, who spoke earlier. In the most ancient days, the skills of an architect were most precious. They were the masons, the ones who understood how to build monuments, who understood how to build houses for God, makers of life, architects of the cosmos. We may be talking about those rare beings who are building some great design beyond the scale of mortal man. I'm loving the ties together here between the books, the quotes, the parallels between similar references. Very well put together and convincing at this stage, at least a little bit. A well-reasoned possibility. Anyway, the fan continues. One of Lorgar's names is he's known as the Urizen. This is from the Mythology and Painting of William Blake. In Blake's work, the Urizen is the architect of the cosmos. The fan wants us to know that Lorgar sees chaos as something that still obeys law. To quote the fan, I have to make a moment to head off the argument that Lorgar is about chaos. This seems on the surface to be counter to the Urizen myth, who is a demiurge associated with unflinching law and order. However, it's important to understand that Lorgar does not view chaos as random. In fact, warp magic as a whole he described as laws. From Betrayer, it is not magic. he fairly sneered the word. It is manipulation of the infinite potential that is the source of all realities, a blending of components from the universe of flesh and blood and the divine realm of pure ether and emotion. So in the novel, let's look at why it's called the City of Dust. Beneath the material city of Queen Mab is the City of Dust, but it's not a ruin, it's a great city of towers and domes. Bequin could see how the city was a perfect plan. This was beyond anything a realm that contained itself in utter metaphysical perfection. When Lorgar's city, Monarchy, is destroyed by the Emperor, because he's not happy that Lorgar's been saying people should worship the Emperor, that idea of a perfect city is referenced by the Primarch, who smeared black ash across his face, tarnishing his features with the powdered bones of the perfect city. The idea is the City of Dust is called that because it is a tribute to the dream Lorgar had in Monarchia. It's Lorgar attempting to find redemption. I am not a destroyer, Magnus was told by Lorgar, not like the others. Why do you think I spend so long establishing compliance and creating perfect worlds? In creation I am vindicated. The fans suggest this is why the cursed of the city of Queen Mab all bear a resemblance to Lorgar, bald with sigils covering their bodies. These people accept the weight for some crime in the eyes of the ecclesiarchy and seek to find atonement by living on the street, surviving by charity of others and offering charity to others in return. From the book, this selflessness counts against the equity of its own original sin, so the cursed take on the curses and crimes of others to diminish their own burdens. Often they will skin their own crimes, writing them on their bodies, and the crimes they have accepted on the behalf of others on their skins in ink. The fan says in relation to Lorgar in Bearer of the Word, we see the deep connection as one of the cores of Lorgar's pre-emperor philosophy deals directly with the idea of burdens and how they should be shared, and this is something shared in the Bequin books in a conversation between Renna and Bequin. I cannot shrive away my burden of sins if I take things on that I do not precisely understand, but they have been asked for. That's just sloppy. My burden won't ease if I can't do things correct. The sin behind the curse in the book concerns a girl a curse gave shelter to, but could not save, and this is compared to Argyle, who also shaped by the life of a girl he fails to save. I find that fairly weak and not specific enough, to be honest. Now let's carry on through this last section to see how convinced we are of the fans' theory. One of the major factions, the fan says, we meet in Queen Mab is the Warblind. They reside in the streets known as the Halloway, a sacred path once walked by Saint Orpheus. They are closed off as blessed tracts. The Warblind go into there to find shelter and to avoid the city watch, and they go there, as I understand it, in the hope of being blessed by the saint's afterglow, to be blessed or cursed or saved, and this is compared to Lorgar setting a place aside for Angron. In the situation, Magnus comments on this trait of his brother. Truly, but would the galaxy really miss Angron's tortured soul? Would his legion even mourn his loss? Is his life really worth saving? Lorgar says he wants to save him because he is his brother, and not for some future manipulation. The fan gives us more information on the parallels with Lorgar, saying to Angron, no matter how he feels, one day he will save him, he swears. I would spare you any pain I can, and protect you from harm if I'm able. Then the fan says that Lorgar also ties to the weather in Queen Mab, as the rain plays an important part in the books. I kind of rolled my eyes at this, but then listen to this quote from the Bearer of the Word. What did you say, Lorgar? Said Fan Morgul. You named him? Corferon directed a venomous glare at the nomad. You gave him one of your filthy sand names? It is a good name, Fan Morgul replied. A very old name. It comes to me the moment I laid eyes upon him, or should I say the moment I recovered my senses. After seeing him, it means the Rain Caller. Now that was a great tie-in, and the fan goes on to say that there is more they could explain about the Yale King's desire to create literal flying angels, making a lot more sense because Lorgar views Sanguinita's wings as a reminder of the divine, or how the Maison Dieu, a faction trained in the initial appearance by the Inquisition, a group of blanks, but then we find out it's actually an idea by the Cognati to get their own blanks to make them into good demons, is the best way I can put it. The fan goes on to say that there is a playhouse which may mirror Lorgar going from religion to playing the part of a villain during his long march towards redemption, or maybe now the concept of twins, one in the light and one in the shadow. We see with the Twin Cities are meant to show Lorgar as a mirror to the Emperor. The fan says that he's the Primarch, said to most physically resemble the Emperor, but it ends his post there. So something I've just noticed that's kind of lacking is, and maybe it would come out in the book if it is Lorgar, is why does Lorgar want this redemption? Why does he want to move against, as it appears on the surface, the forces of chaos? I don't think that's really here in this theory. It's well researched, it has great ties in with the words and events, and the character of Lorgar across multiple books, which I do respect. It would be a real twist that's hinted at, but not seen. However, I think that they have to deliver on the Valdor reveal. Think how many great fan theories have come out into the community, be it on Reddit or from various YouTubers since it came out, that it's Constantine Valdor who is the Yellow King. So I think for that to deliver on the promise, I'll mark this one as tin foil, but a bloody well put together one. One thing I want to address, I do not use the fan's name or post a link to Reddit because after consideration I don't want to out the person or to have any criticism put at them other than a fun fan theory level, and to be something different that we can do on the channel from time to time. So what did you think of the theory? How would you rate it? Tin foil or should be canon? Comment down below to let me know your thoughts.